Join me as I dive into the Bible and see if I can uncover everything it says about potential assassination attempts on Donald Trump in 2024. Today, we're going to explore the topic that may seem unconventional, but bear with me because it's going to be a wild ride. We're going to examine the connection between the biblical prophecies and the political climax surrounding Donald Trump in 2024. This topic that's rarely discussed, but I believe it is critical to understand the significance of this intersection. Without further ado, let's get started. As we dive into this topic, I want to emphasize we're not here to promote or glorify violence in any way. Our purpose is to understand the biblical context surrounding the political leaders and the potential threat they face. So let's get started. Donald Trump is a highly polarized figure, and his presidency has been marked by controversy and division. But before we dive into the biblical aspects, let us take a step back and look at his political career and the significance of his presidency. Donald Trump rises to power was unprecedented, and his presidency has been filled with surprises. From his unapologetic rhetoric to his unconventional approach to politics, Trump has managed to captivate the attention of the world. But with great power comes great danger, and Trump has faced numerous threats to his life since taking office and out of office. In 2016, Trump's life was threatened multiple times, with several individuals attempting to harm him during his presidential campaign. These incidents were widely reported and sparked widespread concern about the safety of political leaders. But what does the Bible say about these threats? And can we find any connection between biblical prophecy and modern day politics? Before we dive into the biblical aspect, I want to emphasize that we are not here to predict the future or claim that we know exactly what's going to happen. Instead, we're going to explore the biblical context surrounding political leaders and the potential threat they face. Let's start with one of the most well known biblical figures, King David. David's story is marked by struggle and turmoil, and he faced numerous threats to his life throughout his reign. One of the most significant threats came from Saul, who repeatedly attempted to kill David out of jealousy and fear. In Psalms chapter 59, David writes about his experience of being pursued by Saul, saying, "Deliver me from my enemies, O God. Be my fortress among the sons of men." This Psalms is a powerful expression of David's trust in God, even in the face of extreme danger. This brings us to our first point. The Bible teaches us that political leaders are not immune to threats and danger. In fact, many biblical figures face assassination attempts, including Moses, Elijah, and even Jesus himself. In Matthew chapter 2, we read about King Herod attempts to kill Jesus as an infant. This event is often seen as the fulfillment of biblical prophecy, and it highlights the danger that political leaders can pose to innocent lives. This raises an important question. Can we find any connection between biblical prophecy and modern day politics? The answer is yes, and we're going to explore several examples throughout this video. One of the most significant connection can be found in Psalms chapter 2, which says, "The kings of the earth rise up, and the rulers band together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, Let us break their chains and throw off their shackles." This psalm is often seen as a prophecy about the rebellion of earthly rulers against God's anointed one, Jesus Christ. But can we apply this prophecy to the modern day politics? I believe we can. In recent years, we've seen a growing trend of political leaders rejecting biblical values and embracing more secular worldview, such as Donald Trump. That has led to clashes between those who claim to follow God and those who reject him. In 2 Kings chapter 9, we read about the story of Jehu, a king who was anointed by God and destroyed the wicked house of Ahab. Jehu's story is marked by violence and bloodshed, but it also highlights the power of God to bring justice and righteousness. This brings us to our next point. The Bible teaches us that God is sovereign over all earthly rulers. In Daniel chapter 2, we read about Nebuchadnezzar's dream, which was interpreted by Daniel to mean that God is the one who sets up and removes earthly rulers. It's only by God's will. It's only God's will to determine when Donald Trump has fulfilled God's purpose on this earth. No wicked person can do that. Though he may not be president, and though he will not be in office again, he is still one of our presidents of this great country, of the United States of America. The principle is repeated throughout the Bible, and it has a significant implication for our understanding of modern day politics. If God is sovereign over earthly rulers, then we must acknowledge that he is also sovereign over their fate, including any threat that they may face. But what about the role of human agency in assassination attempts? The Bible teaches us that human beings are responsible for their actions, and that we will be held accountable for our decisions. In Acts chapter 2, Peter says that the death of Jesus was both the will of God and the result of human wickedness. This brings us to our next point. The Bible teaches us that assassination attempts can be a manifestation of human sin and rebellion against God. In Psalms chapter 10, we read about the wicked who plot against the innocent, saying, in his heart, the wicked man plots evil. He gathers the wicked and whisper evil things. This psalm highlights the reality of human evil and its consequences. It also reminds us that God is just and will ultimately bring justice to those who have been wronged. But what about the role of prophecy in understanding modern day politics? The Bible teaches us that prophecy is not just about predicting the future, but it's also about understanding the present. In 1 Corinthians chapter 14, Paul writes the prophecy is for the benefit of believers to encourage and build them up. This brings us to our next point. The Bible teaches us that prophecy is relevant to our understanding of modern day politics. In Revelation chapter 13, we read about the beasts that rise out of the sea, symbolizing the anti Christian powers that seek to destroy God's people. This passage is often interpreted as the prophecy about the end times, but it also has a significant implication for our understanding of modern day politics. If we believe the Bible is the inspired word of God, then we must also believe its prophecy are relevant to our understanding of the world around us. But what about the potential counter arguments to our interpretation of the biblical prophecy? Some might argue that we're taking the Bible out of context or imposing modern day meanings onto ancient texts. To this, I would say that we must approach the Bible with humility and respect for its original context. However, we must also recognize that the Bible is a timeless text that speaks to universal human concern and experience. Others might argue that discussing assassination attempts is taboo or unseemly. To this, I would say that the Bible teaches us to confront reality and to speak truth to power. In Ezekiel chapter 22, we read about the prophecy role in speaking out against injustice and oppression. This brings us to our final point. Discussing assassination attempts is significant and can be framed within the biblical context. In fact, the Bible teaches us that speaking truth to power is a critical aspect of our faith. As we conclude with this video, I want to emphasize our goal is not to predict the future or to sensationalize violence. Instead, our goal is to understand the biblical context surrounding political leaders and the potential threats they face. I believe that this topic is a critical to our understanding of modern day politics, and I hope that this video has provided some food for thought. In the comments below, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the connection between biblical prophecy and modern day politics. If you want to watch another related video, Check out our discussion on biblical significance of impeachment. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. God bless you, and God bless your family. Thanks.